Welcome to a new vlog. It's been a while. Don't worry about it.
Has been a while.
A little bit. I mean, I think the last thing we uploaded was,
Bridgerton?
no, I think it was, the vlog about reading things we might hate.
Yeah.
Or unhaul, not hate. Hate's a strong word. I did not hate it. I just didn't care about it.
I didn't retain a word of the thing I read. They Will Come in Darkness? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It's boring.
Anyway, new vlog, new things. Where it's gonna be like our old vlogs, where we just kind of shoot the shit and do our thing. I'm rereading J.R. Ward and Janine Frost right now, and I have like a bunch of new stuff that I'm trying, but I don't know. I think I only got to one of that this week.
I'm making my way through J.R. Ward for the first time and reading random things that I have picked up from the library, including Tender as the Flesh, which is a book about cannibalism, and Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter, which is a book I kind of don't know if I want to finish.
Is it brutal or boring?
It's boring.
Ah. But okay. Yeah, we'll get back to you on all of this. See you next clip. It's been a while since we did a vlog, so this is weird for me. But I'm currently in the middle of a few Hi Sailor. A few series. Are you about to throw that off the shelf? I'm in the middle of a few series. Oh, say, come here. Come here, say. I'm reading J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series. Cappy and I are gonna do some videos on that soon. I just finished The King. I'm also rereading Janine Frost's Night Huntress World series, I think is what it's called. And I am going to start a cozy mystery series soon. And currently, the book I'm currently reading is Slave to Sensation by Nalini Singh for the first time. And it's okay. The first book in these series is often pretty bad, so I'm not expecting anything amazing. I'm gonna give it a few books to get its like groove going. This book is incredibly horny. And like that's not necessarily a problem. I read a lot of incredibly horny books. The issue I have with it is that it feels forced. There's not a lot of chemistry between the two leads. So the main character, Sasha, is a Psi, which is a type of person who has, I believe, psychic abilities, but also they're basically evil Vulcans where they are conditioned to not have any emotions, and her conditioning didn't work, so she does have emotions and she's trying to hide so she doesn't get killed. And then the other main character, Lucas, is a changeling. He changes into a panther. And then there's like some story in the background about other changeling women getting killed. So yeah, that's what it's about. It's okay so far. I don't see it getting great rating for me, but we'll see. Alright, so I finished Slave to Sensation by Nalini Singh, and it was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I do think the series will grow on me as I continue it though, because I didn't really have any negative emotions. There wasn't a lot of positive either. So I think it's gonna grow on me. But yeah, there's a couple of things. Like I said, she wasn't supposed to have emotions and she did, but she was still raised to not have emotions, and I feel like that wasn't really brought into her character at all. And I mean, in some ways it was, just not as much as I want. But this book was short as well, so maybe the next couple will be better. I can hope. But yeah, so I've moved on to One Grave at a Time. This is like book 6, I think, in the Night Huntress series. It's a reread for me. I don't think it's one of my favorites. I have such a weird emotional attachment to this series, considering how often this pisses me off, so.
It's 3 a.m, so I can't be expected to look presentable, but to be fair, I feel like I look like I do all the time, even when it's daylight. Anyway, I've been up to things, reading-wise. foolish things mostly. I thought I would try my hand at reading that Tender is the Flesh book, and the name of the author escapes me, and I do feel bad about it. But if you don't know the premise, it's about cannibalism, basically. It's, I think it's pretty infamous. Its premise is that all the animals in the world got sick, and chaos ensued, and then people ended up getting made into the new cattle meat. Lots of words for it. Why did I start reading this? I don't know. Was it a good idea? No. Am I going to finish it? Yes, I have 4 days. It's not as grotesque as I was expecting. I think I was expecting more details, and there are details, nightmarish details that will haunt me for the rest of my days, but not as bad as I thought. So far, it's very well done. Horrendous. I wouldn't suggest it if you are squeamish. I'm squeamish. I shouldn't. If you hear squeaking, that's my children attacking each other because someone wants to groom someone else. I see a foot in the air. Anyway, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot, and I don't know how to talk about it. If you think you might like it, go ahead and try it. If you get in and it's too much, just get out immediately. Don't hesitate. The other thing I have been doing is I'm desperately trying to finish the 7th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. I've loved every book before this one. Ate them up in like a day or two. This one less so because, I don't know, I don't really care too much about the main love interest or the character that is the main character, Revenge. I don't know. He's interesting, but not as interesting as I think the other heroes in previous books. I also don't like that he met his love interest off page. I hate that kind of thing. It's a little boring, but you know, it is what it is. I'm still enjoying it, just not as much as the other ones. And obviously in a book series that long, which I think it's like 20 books now, there's going to be hits and misses. So it is what it is. Anyway, still very good. Her books are pretty excellent. The other thing I'm reading is Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. It's the first book in the new series, which I believe the second book just came out or is about to come out. It's going to be about a U.S. Marshal marshalling, I guess. I don't really know because the first book is introducing her and her own drama. The basic plot is her mother has been lying to her about who she is and her past, and it turns out she is... Oh wait, I don't know how quickly that's revealed in the book, so I won't spoil it, but her mom is lying. There's stuff going on, there's people coming after her trying to kill her, and her mom tells her to take off and she'll come find her. And she's hiding from bad people and her mother's past. And I watched the show on Netflix. They adapted it. I thought the show was okay. But the thing is with Karen Slaughter's books, I love them because of her writing and her characterization. I find her incredibly talented at making me care about characters in thriller books, which is nearly impossible. Typically in a thriller, I don't care about the people. They don't feel like people. They're just basically stand-ins that things can happen to them to progress the plot. But she always makes hers feel like people and their relationships with their families. She has a lot of sister stuff, but this is mother and daughter. Those relationships are always so good and so fleshed out. And the things with the show is you can't necessarily include all the little things that she does that I feel are kind of magical. Not to be too cheesy, but it makes her books special. Like her thrillers are elevated. I don't want to trash an entire genre, but I think if you read thrillers, you know they're kind of trashy. That's the point, and that's fine. But hers are like just a little elevated. Though, Jesus, she has some vile stuff in her books, like some hardcore stuff. If I can't even begin to describe it. So much awful stuff happens in her books. It's really hard to read, but they're very good. But the book is okay so far. I've found with her, each time I read one of her books, I like it less than I liked the last one, which is odd. But the first book I read from her was Pretty Girls, then The Good Daughter, then False Witness, her last new one, and now I'm reading pieces of her. And I'm wondering if I would have liked it more if I hadn't watched the show before I started reading the book. It's like Toni Collette is in the show, and you think, oh, she's in it, the show's gonna be awesome. It was fine. It was okay. It was a thriller without, I feel like, a lot of the heart that typically gets put into a Karen Slaughter story. So it is what it is. So those are 3 books I'm reading right now. I'm almost done with Tender as the Flesh. And now I have the hiccups, so I should probably wrap this up. But I'll keep you posted on how that goes. I'm very worried about Tender as the Flesh specifically. It's gonna give me nightmares.
So I finished The Side of the Grave yesterday. It was fine. It's not, again, like, I have like a lot of mixed feelings about that series because there's a lot of hypocrisy and misogyny in a way that's not fun to read. And like, if it was fun to read, I wouldn't necessarily care because it's entertainment, not profound anything. So, but I have a lot of mixed feelings about it because it's just such blatant hypocrisy that it's weird that the author didn't realize it, and it just comes off really uncomfortable and like bad, but also I love it. Like, it reached, like, for the first book, it reached for like a Buffy fanfiction, and I love Buffy. So, yeah, no. But anyway, I moved on to The Shadows by J.R. Ward, which is the 12th. That's the 12th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. This one's really deep in, and I don't know how much I can honestly tell you. I don't remember too much from it from when I read it when it first came out, and the parts I do remember are sad. They're sad. But yeah, I'll update you a little bit later.
Same position, yes. Different day. Also, yes. I hate to even be saying this about a book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, but I'm still on book 7, Revenge. And I'm so bored. I'm 8 hours in, and like nothing has happened with the romance. There's 15 hours left, to be fair. But if I'm listening to a book that is primarily a romance, if I get through the length of an entire normal romance book and there still hasn't really been any romance, I'm gonna get a little irritated. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know when they're gonna actually start the romance stuff. Normally when these books go slow, I don't mind it because I like the characters, but I just don't really care about Rev. So, bored, not having a great time, a little worried now about the rest of the series, but you know, we'll see what happens. It's probably gonna be fine. I'll maybe feel differently in 15 hours, but we will see.
So, how was this week for you?
I want to say not productive, but it kind of was. I read 2 books and then a novella, and I finished Tender as the Flesh against all odds. I regret it. It was, so I finished Tender as the Flesh, and it was pretty much exactly what I thought it would be. It was just like, I guess, speculative fiction on a world where you can't eat animals, so it's like, oh, we'll eat people, and we'll, like, breed people specifically for this, and it was exactly as brutal as you'd imagine, and as graphic as you'd imagine, and then the last page, I rolled my eyes because it's just like, it felt like it was trying to demonstrate, oh, spoilers, a little bit. It felt like it was trying to demonstrate the corruption of the main character, but he was never like a good person. So it's like, I don't really know what they were trying to say. Did he lose his mind? Did he turn evil? Was he always like this? I don't know. It felt like the writer, whose name escapes me, felt like they had something in mind and just didn't execute that properly. I kind of wish it just stayed purely speculative fiction with like the characters not feeling like they needed to really do much of anything other than exist in the world. But I guess he needed that stinger ending. So overall, I thought it was okay. Wouldn't read it again. I don't know if I'd recommend it necessarily. And then the other book I finished was, what is Rev's book? Lover Avenged?
Yeah.
Have we explained what the Black Dagger Brotherhood is?
It's vampire romance.
Vampire romance. This was book 6? 7?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, about that guy who owns the nightclub that all the boys frequent. It's about his romance and his emotional issues, and I finished that one, and it was fine. And then I read the entirety of the next book, which was a lot better.
Lover Mine.
Lover Mine.
Book
with
8.
my baby John Matthew and Hex, who did great emotionally. She had no issues at all. It was not hard to read or sad. I didn't stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning desperate to get to a certain point in the book. You good?
I sense your distress.
Maybe Cujo.
She doesn't sense any distress.
Are you gonna
she
help?
wants belly rubs.
What do you need? What did you read this week?
I read, let's see. I read Slave to Sensation by Nalini Singh, which was fine.
What kind of book is that?
It's technically an urban fantasy. It's very horny.
I can imagine.
But it's not, like, fun horny. It feels forced.
Forced horny?
Yeah, because, like, there's not a lot of time in this book. It's a very short book. I think it was, like, maybe 9 hours. It was 7 to 9 hours. I can't quite remember. And she had an entire world to establish, a pact to establish, because he's a were-panther. He's a changeling who changes into a panther. Okay. And a whole other race of supernatural beings to establish called Psy. And basically the Psy I described them earlier in this vlog as evil Vulcans. They forcibly train their kids to not feel emotions to make themselves better. But our main character obviously has emotions. She feels things. And she, that's where the horniness comes in.
I feel like J.R. Ward has ruined me for paranormal romance, because I can read, like, the fun little cartoon cover romances and be fine, but if I try and delve into, like, paranormal romance, everything is in the shadow of the Black Dagger Brotherhood.
I knew this one wasn't going to be great, because most paranormal romances, the first book is not great. There's a lot of, like, beginner stuff where it's just, like, you don't quite know the character, you don't not quite know the world as well, and it's, like, you read the first book so you can get on to the better books, like, The Hollows, the first 2 books aren't that great, but the third book is where it really kicks off for me. Mercy Thompson, I am biased. Obviously, I love the first book, but the first book isn't great, in my opinion.
It's very exposition-y, which is its only real sin, I think.
Yeah, I love it, but I do think the first book is kind of weak. Same with, the best example probably, Alona Andrews' Magic Bites. That book is very, very poor at, like, setting up what the characters are like and what the world is like, and you move on to book 2 and it's completely different. So, like, I'm giving this series a chance. I just had to get through the first book.
I felt that way about Black Dagger Brotherhood, because I don't think Dark Lover was awesome. For me, it was, like, because it's a romance book and the romance was boring, because it was, like, the first time they met, they had sex, and it's like, you didn't even have a conversation, so now I'm bored. But it had, like, the seeds of, there's good stuff here in this world. Like, the world building was really solid.
Yeah, and I reread one of the Janine Frost books, or did I reread several this week? I don't even remember. I reread at least one of them. All the titles are the same, and I don't know which one it was. I think it was This Side of the Grave, but I don't know. And I have a love-hate relationship with that series. I already told you guys this. And then I started The Shadows by J.R. Ward. I'm very far ahead of her at the moment.
That's true. Should I talk about what else I did this week?
What?
I watched Sandman.
Ow.
I have a complicated relationship with Sandman, in which I watched the whole season and it was boring, and I was just, like, waiting for something to happen and for Dream to do something, and then they came out this friggin' bonus episode, and part 2 of the bonus episode, the Calliope part, if you know what it is, was so awesome that I think I'm going to make my entire personality be Sandman for a while. Sarah didn't watch it.
No, I have a more complicated relationship with Sandman than she does, but we'll probably get into that later.
Oh, I guess we will. Probably.
So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe for Buttercup. It's for Buttercup.
For Buttercup?
Yeah.
Why for Buttercup?
Because she's here. Look at her.
Oh, God.
She's so ugly, but it's only because she has Cushing's, I promise.
I don't think that's the only reason.
Don't be mean to my dog.
There's
I'm allowed to be mean.
I think there's other reasons that she's an ugly dog.
No, that's the only reason.